my birth mother Tatiana. When she was a young adult, this is when she met my birth father Misha. They would often spend times together at a summer camp that was going on down the end of this area at the bottom of the Dvina River. And every summer or so, my birth father Misha would often visit Tatiana, and they were dating for quite a while. And Misha's always told me to this day that Tatiana was really such a bubbly and such a beautiful young woman, and he really thought that he was going to marry her. And back then Tatiana was just a young adult, and she was still in the orphanage, and after that she went to a factory where they made bread. She always struggled with that disattachment because she never knew her own biological parents, any of her biological family. To this day, I'm still working on those links for her, and I'm finding my way through it. I'm getting there one by one. She's been able to connect with a brother all these years later, but I want to go back to, over 30 years ago, from when she was in the orphanage and there was no connection for her and everything was just very different. It was difficult because the only family that she had was really those in the orphanage. Her friends, the caretakers, the director, all those people were family to her. And when she met Misha, they were dating for a while, and Misha then went back to Arkhangelsk. It was after the summertime, and he never heard from her again. She fell pregnant with me while she was in the orphanage. And a lot of the friends that I've been in touch with who were also in the orphanage during that time, and in fact Tatiana's also made contact with some of those friends after all these years as well. So I'm trying to build the links further for her to help her at least give her a bit of closure as well, while still trying to work out all those other family links for her own biological side. But she's been able to connect with some of those old friends all those years ago. And one of those friends told me and said, Sasha, it was a very difficult time, and Tatiana was really on the fence. She didn't know what to do. She wanted to keep you, but she knew that she just didn't have the resources or the money, and she just couldn't provide that support to you. After about a few months after leaving the maternity hospital, I was then placed into the regional orphanage, and then that's when I was adopted out by my New Zealand parents 2 years later. Shortly after I was born, Tatiana actually then decided to leave town. She wanted to leave that past behind, and I put myself in her shoes all the time. I always think about this because even though she kept everything such a secret and she kept everything quiet, she really left that pain behind. And I don't blame her for any of that. She had a really hard upbringing. It was very difficult because she didn't have that family around her. She didn't know what it was like to be in a family and be loved by parents. She just didn't have that connection. And so that secret that she held in with herself and that she didn't tell my birth father Misha, I don't blame her for that. I put myself in her shoes, and Misha understands now all these years later that when I first connected with him, my birth father, he said, look, I absolutely understand where she was coming from because my own mother was also in an orphanage. That's what he told me. And he said that, look, there are some times where you just feel like it's the right thing to do, just not to say anything. Misha, of course, was upset because he told Tatiana all these years later that he would have raised me if he knew about me. But he also said, I'm so grateful that Alex was raised in such a loving family. And he's always said that he's just so proud to see how I've been raised and just how my parents have really raised me and looked after me and made me to who I am today. And he's always so grateful for that. And he's always so thankful to both my parents for really looking out for me and just changing my life, really giving me a head start in life. And he's always acknowledged that and always told my parents that. And he's always had that connection with both of my parents. When he first connected with them, after I connected with him and Tatiana and everybody, I made the connection to really bring the family together like this and make the family so much bigger. And Tatiana to this day has always had that sort of sense of regret. She's always been quite upset about it all. She always brings it up and says, look, I'm so sorry that I just couldn't raise you. And I told her, I said, Tatiana, look, it's not anyone's problem. Don't worry about it. Everything's fine. I'm glad I've connected with you, and this is where we are today. And she still struggles with that connection. There's still a lot of that disattachment that's all there. And I still feel that every time I'm contacting her and calling her, and I understand this is just the way her life has been. And it's not been easy. I really understand that it's not been easy for her. But the connection has changed so many times over the years. I remember that very first time with me actually calling her for the first time was actually on her birthday. And that very first day of calling her through, I got very nervous. She got excited. We're both very nervous to talk to each other. I didn't know what to ask her. I didn't know how to say, how are you? Is that the first thing that I say? I didn't know how to say that properly. I didn't know what to ask her. I had no idea what we were going to talk about. And she just said to me, please come and visit. I'm waiting for you to visit. And at the time with my birth father not even having the accurate information on my documents, it wasn't correct. So I asked her, I said, do you know who my birth father is? And she told me, and that's when I connected with my birth father, which then everything changed again. Everything really changed so quickly because I reached out to Misha and I said to him, hey Misha, I think I'm your son. I live here in New Zealand. And he couldn't believe it. He was shocked. He was upset, but he was also very happy to understand that yes, he had a son here in New Zealand. Of course, I've had to relearn and connect more and relearn the Russian language, so I've been able to talk to both my birth father and birth mother over these years, and now I can have a basic conversation with them, and it's just great building that connection further and further. But I can tell you, of course, honestly, with every adoption story, there's going to be so many ups and downs, so many connections and so many links that are always forever going. Adoption is a lifelong journey. I know that completely. Even for Tatiana, my birth mother today, her own story is a lifelong journey. But those connections are still always ongoing. And I really can't thank both of my birth parents for connecting with me, bringing me into their lives, and also to my parents, to my mum and dad for raising me to who I am today. And by the way, it was my dad's birthday just recently, so I want to say a huge happy birthday to my dad. Happy big 70. It's a big milestone for him, but he's done such a great job. He's been a great dad. He's raised both my brother and I to who we are today. And, same with mum as well. Mum's done such an incredible job. And it's my mum's birthday coming up very soon as well. So happy birthday in advance, Mum. I just saw them all just the other day. So, but they watch this, they watch my stories, they watch my YouTube channel. So I want to say happy birthday, Dad. You've done a great job raising us. And I really can't thank you enough for everything that you've done. So thank you so much. And to all of you all across the world, thank you all so much for tuning into my channel. Please look after yourselves. And in the background at the moment, I'm still working on more stories. It doesn't happen overnight. It takes time to get these stories out there for my An Adoption Story series, but I can't wait to show them to you further throughout the year for 2025. So thank you all so much. Look after yourselves. Take care. And until next time, до свидания. Из Новой Зеландии. Спасибо большое.